Well, hello there, everyone. How you doing on this marvelous Monday, January the 9th in the year 2023? It's amazing sometimes. 2023. I started this channel in 2021. Seems like I just started yesterday. I started, I don't know, a week or two after, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks after I moved down here to Florida. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about a couple things here. And before I get started, I am Mazske Finance. I talk about all kinds of financial topics. I also talk about other topics at time. I noticed I lost 3 subscribers. I don't know why. It could be because I'm not flashy, don't have graphics, or maybe it's because I gave a talk on a book dealing with our health. And I've talked about my health and how to help your health. And I've talked about moving to Panama and some other stuff. Sometimes I talk about other topics. That's just who I am. That's the way I'm going to continue to be. I don't, that's me. So if you don't like it, unsubscribe. I don't care. So it is what it is. So anyway, with that being said, I'm Mazske Finance. I am not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. All right. So with that being said, here's a couple things interesting. Just a couple days ago, today's Monday, it was probably last week, they came out with job numbers. It was better than expected. More jobs were created. Unemployment figures came out and it was lower than what was expected. It's like 3.5%. Something like the lowest unemployment since, I think, the late 60s, 68, 69. So I think that's what I heard. Something like that. I think I might have a seed in my mouth. I was eating seeds. Stuck somewhere. Hopefully you don't see anything in there. But anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, something I was going to talk about real quick here, though, is your primary residence. Where do you live at? If you want to, comment below. Don't tell me your address. Where do you live at? Do you live in Florida? Do you live in Virginia? Do you live in California? Do you live in Hawaii? Do you live in China? Do you live in Japan? Where do you live? I'm just curious. All right. So with that being said, your primary residence. Are you attached to your primary residence? Do you love your primary residence? Are you one of those individuals who say you can't afford to invest? Part of the reason because you're paying a large mortgage on your primary residence. I think we need to shift, and I'm an American, so I'll talk about the American dream. As a kid growing up, the American dream. Nice house, a white picket fence, a yard, place for the kids to play in a nice suburban area, or what was that old saying, an old song commercial, baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. Okay, that's not the American dream. But anyway, your primary residence. I know a lot of people who tell me they can't afford to invest, but they have either a nice primary residence, a decent one. That's not $1 million house, but a decent one. And or, for a lot of them, it's both, a nice vehicle that they drive. Because they got to have a nice vehicle to go from point A to point B. I was telling the missus the other day about how when I was a police officer, one of my supervisors talked to me one time, basically telling me, Mazske, you need to get a better car. Because I was driving an old vehicle. I was driving a 1987 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. And this would have been in the 2000s, I think. And they said, you drive the oldest vehicle here in the police department. And I was like, it's paid off. It gets me from point A to point B, and I think a safe manner. And they did not understand. They seriously talked to me about buying a better vehicle. They're still working full time. They're older than I am, I think, or around the same age. They're still working full time. I'm not. Okay, but your primary residence. I know a lot of people who, including myself, when I lived in Virginia, when I was a cop, back in the day, in the late 90s, when I got hired as a police officer and I bought my primary residence, I struggled financially because money was so tight. Why was it so tight? It was my house, my mortgage, and I knew that. But it's like, it was my house. I got it's my house. I'm raising my kids. It's my house. I got to keep it. And also I wanted to pay it off. So I paid it off in 17 years. Okay. And I started off paying like $5 extra a month just in the beginning. And I refinanced it along the way from a 30-year mortgage to a 15-year mortgage when rates back then dropped, maybe around 2004-ish, I think, somewhere in there. 2002-ish, 2003, I forget where. But that mortgage saddled me for a while. It tied me up for a while. Okay. But I did pay it off. And after I paid it off, it opened things up where I had more money available because that mortgage payment, I had money available. And I started on my real estate journey. My real estate journey, I've talked about it. I went from 0 to 25 rentals in just under 4 years. Okay, that's pretty quick. It's not the fastest of anyone, but it's pretty quick. And then I moved here. And since I've moved here, part of me feels like I've stagnated just a bit. I haven't completely stagnated. To your eyes, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But I've been here almost 2 years. Not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years. My rental count hasn't really increased. My mineral rights portfolios has increased quite a bit. And I can consider each mineral right acreage of kind of like one rental property. Okay, so I've increased that. But why is that? It's this house. I pay a lot for this mortgage. I pay just over $3,000 for this mortgage. I told my mastermind group the other day, I got a letter from my mortgage company. My mortgage is going up February 1st. And think about your mortgage. If you have a mortgage, it'll go up periodically when taxes go up or insurance goes up. A lot of time, as long as your mortgage company is paying the tax insurance with escrow, and a lot of mortgage companies do require that they maintain the escrow because they want to make sure your tax insurance get paid. But I found historically, like in Virginia, if my mortgage went up 1 year because of the escrow going up, usually the following year, maybe it was 2 years later, it would drop down just a bit because they were holding out too much. It dropped down. So anyway, I got a letter in the mail, and they're increasing my mortgage because my escrow payment, $660 a month. It worked out to like almost a 22% increase. That's a pretty healthy increase, don't you say? But I'm in South Florida. Housing values have gone up. Insurance, hurricanes, insurance rates are skyrocketing. And plus, insurance companies are going out of business. There's been half a dozen, or was it a dozen, Florida-based insurance companies that are gone. They're in the last year. They're out of business, bankrupt. Okay, so if you're planning to move to Florida, expect that your homeowner's insurance is going to be a lot higher than wherever it is you're coming from, probably. If you're moving to an area like this that is appreciating, your taxes are going to go up because they're going to reassess your house periodically and it's going to go up. So it's going to happen. So what am I doing? I'm going to be putting this house for sale. Okay. You might say, well, Mazske, you're different. You know, your kids are grown. You're financially independent. You can do that. So can you. So can you. We're all different. We all have different situations in our lives. Maybe we have kids. Maybe we have partners, spouses, husband, wives, partners. Our kids might be newborns. They might be kids, toddlers. They might be teenagers. They might be in college, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Our job, we work probably somewhere close to where we live at, okay? But let me ask you this. If you're struggling to invest, maybe you got a couple rentals, maybe you don't have any rentals, you're struggling to invest. If you could eliminate that mortgage or reduce that mortgage, would that help? Look at what your options may be, okay? I've said many times, I've never done this before, but I've said many times, what if you were to sell your primary residence and buy a duplex or a triplex or a quadplex and live in one unit, rent the other one out? Because then your tenant in the other unit could be paying most of or all of your mortgage, okay? Think how that would free up some money, okay? Or could you, because if you own a home, you'll find out things break and you need to do repairs, and it's more expensive now than ever. You got material shortages still. Labor costs are going up, so it costs more than ever. Okay, so if you say you didn't want to buy a duplex or triplex, could you even rent in your area? I know you got kids, you love your house, but could you rent for cheaper than your mortgage? Or if it was the same as your mortgage, now you no longer have to cover maintenance and repairs. Okay. Because for a large amount of Americans, I dare say, their mortgages, it holds them down because it's the American dream. You got to buy a house. You got to buy a house, right? You got to live in a house. But if you want to be an investor, what if you don't buy a house or you buy a duplex, triplex, quadplex, or you rent until such a time that your income is at such a level you can buy the house of your dreams, and maybe you pay cash for it. Is that a possibility? I dare say it is a possibility. And if you're in the United States of America and you've owned your house for, let's say, at least 2 years, it depends on where you're at. Every area can be different. But for a large part of this country, houses have gone up in value. So if you've lived in your house for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, if you sold your house, wouldn't you make a profit, perhaps? And couldn't it be a larger profit than it would have been in the past because prices have gone up? And let's say you can move in, you can buy a duplex. Maybe you don't even, you could take that profit and stash it away for your cash reserves in a bank like Wealthfront. The link will be below where you can click on that and get 4.3% interest on that money, and then rent someplace for less than your mortgage, or buy a duplex, triplex, quadplex where your tenant's paying your mortgage, and you all of a sudden you free up yourself. You have cash in the bank. You see where this is heading? You can, in my words, explode your wealth by eliminating that personal mortgage. Okay? That's what I'm planning to do here. I want to explode my wealth. I've said this before what my goal is. One of my goals is to get to having $25,000 a month in positive cash flow, passive income, let's say. Okay? I'm not there yet. I think I'm going to get there. I think by me selling this house, making the move I'm going to make, I'm going to get there. I won't say exactly when. When I set this goal, I had, I think it was an 18-month goal. I'm still in that 18 months, so we'll see. We'll see. All right, enough on that. So, well, hopefully you have a great day. Hopefully you have a great week. It's Monday. Maybe you're off today. Maybe it's the start of your work week. Maybe you don't work at all. You're financially independent like I am. So with that being said, have a great day. Do get on that property ladder. Buy that first rental. Buy that second. All right. Have a great day. Maskies out.